What up, world? It's Jugga Stoned here again, ready to teach you something. It's Wednesday, it's a little late, but we're still making it happen. Today we're talking about, in honor of the upcoming Hurricane Dorian coming to Florida, talking about hurricane preparation and safety tips. Now there's a lot of myths out there that where you are when the hurricane strikes greatly affects what kind of information you need to have to be successful during these times. Now, I always want to recommend be safe before anything else. Remember that nothing is worth anything. Only you are worth something. Everything else is just a possession. So if you're in a path where someone says you need to go, you need to go. That's just what needs to happen. None of this hunker down, oh, I've lived here. That's how people die. If you're told to evacuate, you get that fuck out. Like, I will always drop the fuck on that. You need to get the fuck out. Tip 1, evacuate if they tell you to evacuate. Don't wait too long, don't do it at the end, and don't try and take things that don't matter. There's always little things you can do, look up to protect your house and your possessions, even when a storm comes, to keep them mostly safe, unless you're talking about 10-foot walls of sea that come through. If you are staying, then what you do to your house is highly dependent on the amount of wind and the amount of storm surge or the amount of debris in your area. So boarding up your windows, Cat 2, I probably still wouldn't, being in Central Florida, simply because by the time it hits me, it's a Cat 1 or a tropical storm. That's an aggressive thunderstorm. You don't board up for a thunderstorm, you want it for a tropical storm. If you are in an area with a lot of loose debris, go ahead and board up. That's important. That's projectiles. It's going to be a Cat 3 when it lands. Boarding up is paramount if you're on the coast. You're taking the brunt. If you're 30, 40 miles inland, you're not seeing the same effects as what a coastal community would see. I'm not going to board up unless it's a Cat 3 or greater when it hits me. Anything other than that will probably be okay. When it comes to water supply, if you are well-based, you need to stock up on water. You are the people that should be spending $100 on gallons of water. You are city water. There is a very minimal chance you will lose water. If they lose power to the water facility, better believe that's one of the top priorities to get their power back, is the water facilities, hospitals, police stations. Water is only important if you have no access to city-driven water. That's not to say you're not going to go without water for a day or two, but if you're stockpiling 100 gallons of water and you live off of city water, you have wasted your money. And you've also taken from people who probably needed that more than you. Food, nothing perishable. Fun facts, jam out of the refrigerator is good for a month before you have to discard it. But don't just eat peanut butter. Like, you can get your fruits in there too. When it comes to meats, supermarkets are highly likely to be up and running with the fact that they have generators. Short of a citywide curfew, you will probably be able to go to a store and purchase fresh things. If you don't have power at home, well, that's when you can charcoal grill. So when it comes to perishables, I wouldn't purchase anything, maybe a couple loaves of bread. So if you are seeing the downed power line, don't touch it. It could be live, it could not be. If you see water on the road over any stretch, don't go in it. For all you know, that's 2 feet deep, and now your car is halfway underwater because a stretch that looks like it's perfectly fine actually has a dip to it for 30 feet, and all of a sudden at the center of that dip, you're up to your seat in water. So car is it's a personal generator. It's AC if you're in a southern climate. It's power for your phone, because communication is key nowadays. It gets you where you need to go. Don't drive through anything that you can't tell the depth of. Party hardy. This is the time to do it. Man, there's nothing like staring at nature and taking a shot, or hitting the blunt if you're in a place where that's legal to do so. And just looking at the wrath that the earth can bring and realizing your mortality amongst it. We can be completely safe inside of a cinder-blocked home, and all of a sudden a tornado gets dropped by this hurricane and it takes our house out. Don't be stuck thinking about all the things that could go wrong during a natural disaster like this. Stay safe, stay inside, be responsible, but party. Really live it up, because you're living through something that would have decimated, still does, but decimated a community every time it hit 200 years ago, 100 years ago. Like, hurricanes are an example of how powerful basic forces of nature are, and you should use that as an opportunity to empower yourself and your humanity by living your life to its utmost fun. Because we live in a day and age where if you follow the right instructions, you can get through most anything safely, and we can laugh in the face of the most destructive forces on the planet and still pull out alive. The eye of the storm has the strongest walls, so you shouldn't go out into it, because while it might be over you for an hour, it could also just be over you for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, based on where you are in relation to where that eye is. So don't play around in the eye of the storm. It's very calm. There's no clouds. It's a straight shot. Like, it's a beautiful sight. Definitely appreciate it, but treat it for the dangerous item that it is. Be safe in the eye of the storm. In this day and age, we're pretty well equipped to make it through events like this. So the best piece of advice you can be given is dive into information on the topic. Don't sit around thinking everything's going to be okay and that you'll be taken care of, because you'll see how quick a government can collapse in a pocketed area based on a natural disaster, and you don't want to be one that is not prepared for it. So have a week's supply. Honestly, at the start of hurricane season, you should buy your week's supply of whatever provisions that aren't perishable, that'll last for a couple of years, and just have it set aside and ready, because when these things come, you only have 3 or 4 days of everyone going, oh shit, and being the ones to run to the stores. I saw someone buy wood 3 weeks ago. We haven't had any kind of tropical disturbance in Florida. They were just getting ready, because right now I bet if I go to Home Depot and Lowe's, I won't be able to find those nice fat pieces of plywood to drill into the side of my house to protect the windows. So people snap and they scoop that shit up. Don't be scared. If they tell you to leave, that's when you leave. If they tell you not to leave, follow whatever little instructions they give you. Pay attention to the news for once. You'll be fine. You'll be just fine. If a window breaks, cover it up. Don't go run around in a natural disaster. Basic stuff. Follow those, get out of their instructions. Now, that's the most important tip from this. If you see evacuate, don't laugh. Go. Go right now. Grab your dog, grab your cats. Go. This has been another great video. I'm going to chop and screw it just a little bit and give a little posty-post action. Happy Wednesday. And for all you who didn't see this, thanks for coming in.